Saudi Arabia announced plans to construct a new megacity in the northwestern corner of the country by the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aqaba. The ambitious project will cost about $500 billion and seeks to link to neighboring Egypt and Jordan. Besides its economic feasibility, the proximity of the project could lead to Saudi Arabia's recognition of Israel. Suffice to say, a project of this magnitude is not without its geo-economic challenges. My name is Shirvan and welcome to Caspian Report. Crown Prince bin Salman revealed his flagship project during the Future Investment Initiative on October 24th. The proposal, called NEOM, takes neo as in new from Latin and M from the word for mustaqbal, which means future in Arabic. So the project literally translates to new future. The terminology of the megacity is a reference to Saudi Arabia's quest to reform its economy and prepare itself for the post-oil environment. The blueprint of the NEOM project envisions a city that hosts a variety of industries, including biotechnology, advanced manufacturing, digital services, as well as commerces that focus on energy, water, food, media, and even entertainment. To top things off, the plan is to integrate disruptive technologies and innovations into the city. For instance, public transportation in the city will be run by autonomous vehicles. Robots will handle repetitive tasks, and power will derive from solar and wind energy, etc. This may sound overly ambitious, but it is easier to design a new city and integrate disruptive innovations into it than it is to merge these technologies into existing cities. The blueprint for this aspiring megacity is set at $500 billion. For Crown Prince bin Salman, the only way to acquire the necessary funds is to sell a part of Saudi Aramco and fill the treasury of the Public Investment Fund, which is Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. From there, the Saudis could finance the development of the megacity. Klaus Kleinfeld, the former CEO of Siemens AG and Alcoa, oversees the Saudi project. He will have to bring in private investors to fill in the remaining funds for the project. Already, the Japanese multinational SoftBank Group has agreed to buy a significant stake in the state-controlled Saudi electric company that will provide renewable energy for the new megacity. The Saudi government hasn't published a master plan for this city yet, but it has released a promotional video which depicted not only a thriving city, but also a lifestyle that is absent in the modern Saudi kingdom. The footage portrayed women jogging and actively participating in the public life. This is a far cry from the current situation, but as we pointed out before, economic reform in Saudi Arabia will have to be accompanied by social change. Judging by the promotional video, the blueprint for the NEOM project implies that the new megacity will operate independently from the existing governmental structure and the Saudi government.
You can look at these ancient hills and see nothing. Or you can see nothing to hold you back. NEOM. Over 25,000 square kilometers of endless potential that will change the way we live and work forever. A place where pioneers and thinkers and doers can exchange ideas and get things done. A startup the size of a country, with energy that flows from the sun and wind, neighborhoods that can feed and clean themselves, technologies that make life everything it can be. This is where we can prepare together for the next era of human progress. Some will look at these ancient hills and see nothing, but the rest of the world will know that this is where a new way of living began. Discover Neom.
I mean, basically, we are. There's a lot of opportunities in the business-to-business space, in the corporate, amongst corporate card products. There's a lot of opportunities on internet payments because the e-commerce is really growing in Saudi Arabia. So we see a lot of opportunities for us to be in there to support aggregators and support businesses which are beginning to trade more on the internet rather than brick and mortar. So there's a lot of opportunities there. There's a lot of opportunities for to have to increase bill payments on credit cards rather than checks and cash. So I mean there's a lot of opportunities to migrate from cash and checks to credit cards. So that is one opportunity. Second opportunity is on the premium space. We have just launching the titanium version of Centurion, which is our flagship premium product, the Black American Express card. We're just launching that in Saudi Arabia, and that comes with a whole host of new features, upgraded features from the traditional plastic Centurion card. So there's another opportunity for us to grow the premium space and to provide better features to our ultra premium customers. So that's another opportunity which we are looking forward to. Our titanium product will be then revitalized and relaunched again. So there's an opportunity there as well. So in the premium space and in the corporate space, there's a lot of opportunities both in 2014 and 2015 for us.
Developing a new industrial and financial megahub that borders a trade-active area carries substantial potential, but such a project is not without its challenges. The Neom megacity is set at the entrance to the Gulf of Aqaba and seeks to connect to Egypt and Jordan across the Straits of Tiran, which is a narrow passage between the Sinai and Arabian peninsulas. Last year, Egypt accepted Saudi Arabia's sovereignty over the islands of Tiran and Sanafir that sit in the straits in exchange for billions of dollars in aid. However, connecting Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan will require the construction of a 10-kilometer bridge and causeway, which will allow the countries to carry rail and road traffic across the Straits of Tiran. However, the 1979 peace treaty between Egypt and Israel guarantees the latter's access to the Red Sea. An infrastructure project that crosses the Straits of Tiran would, therefore, violate Israel's access to the Red Sea under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea.
For 30 minutes on Sunday, the U.S. news program 60 Minutes profiled the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He's meeting this week with President Donald Trump and with financial officials in New York. For Americans who don't pay much attention to foreign affairs, the impression of the 32-year-old man slated to be king one day may well be a positive one. He's trying to turn Saudi Arabia's oil-based economy into one that's more diversified. He favors religious and social reforms, and he wants women to have more rights.
We have extremists who forbid mixing between the two sexes and are unable to differentiate between a man and a woman alone together and their being together in a workplace. Many of those ideas contradict the way of life during the time of the Prophet and the Caliphs.
The presenter asked MBS about Saudi Arabia's poor human rights record and about his country's air war against Houthis in Yemen, a war that has caused a humanitarian crisis. But MBS was most forthcoming about the existential threat he sees from Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
He wants to create his own project in the Middle East, very much like Hitler, who wanted to expand at the time. Many countries around the world and in Europe did not realize how dangerous Hitler was until what happened happened. I don't want to see the same events happening in the Middle East.
Not mentioned during the segment, the Saudi-led economic and political blockade against Qatar, now in its 10th month, the possibility of diplomatic relations with Israel, or the war in Syria. Analysts say the interview is revealing in one significant way.
I think that his instinct to blame everything on Iran, from domestic problems in Saudi Arabia to the region, was quite striking. And to rewrite history, that somehow the problems in Saudi Arabia only started in 1979, erases the fact that his relative, King Faisal, was assassinated in 1975 for bringing television to the kingdom and allowing girls to go to school. This is not a problem that started with Iran. This is a problem inside Saudi Arabia, inside the ruling family in Saudi Arabia, that Mohammed bin Salman is really trying to erase, and it comes out pretty clear in this interview.
The Crown Prince wants Saudi Arabia to be the most powerful country in the Middle East, and he wants to make sure the U.S. is in his country's corner. All the more reason, then, to make an appeal to the court of U.S. public opinion. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Israel has been firm in its stance towards the Straits of Tiran. In 1967, Egypt's closure of the straits to Israeli shipping was one of the reasons for the Six-Day War, meaning Israeli involvement in the Neom project is critical for the success of the venture, and it's likely to result in Saudi Arabia's formal recognition of the State of Israel. For Israel, the Neom project is of exceptional value. The Israeli high-speed railway project to Eilat, which is a port city by the Gulf of Aqaba, serves as an ideal complementary component of the Saudi megacity. By extending the Neom project with the overland transshipment of the Eilat railway, the Saudi project would appeal to global maritime trading powers such as China. Beijing already has outstanding relations with both Israel and Saudi Arabia, and would therefore eagerly cooperate with both parties in the Neom and the Eilat railway projects. In the long term, however, cooperation and recognition from Egypt and Saudi Arabia could also help Israel to mend ties with its Arab neighbors. Hence, the Neom project offers not only financial opportunities, but also marks the first geopolitical opening for Israel to reconcile with its neighbors. Since reconciliation with the Arab nations is fundamental to the geopolitical interests of Israel, American and Israeli policymakers could throw their weights behind the Neom project. That said, an agreement between Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Jordan would have to go through the back channels, since a public debate on such matters would lead to a blowback in the Arab nations. Such back channels already exist between Saudi and Israeli firms, especially in the sphere of water conservation, cybersecurity, etc. And these agreements usually go through US subsidiaries. That's also how a Neom-related agreement to the Gulf of Aqaba and the Straits of Tiran will likely be reached. In essence, the Neom project has no shortage of ambition. The Saudi government aims to complete the first stage of the megacity by the end of 2025, and it has already allocated more than 26,000 square kilometers for the development of the project. To put that in perspective, that is larger than the state of New Jersey, or slightly smaller than the nation of Belgium. If the project succeeds, it would propel Saudi Arabia into the post-oil era. It would also designate the country as one of the leaders in utilizing disruptive innovations in the development of new cities. However, as grand as the Saudi project is, there is no guarantee that any of this will go according to plan. Previous Saudi plans to create modern cities have all failed. For instance, in 2005, construction began on the King Abdullah Economic City, which lies around 100 kilometers north of Jeddah. Initially, the project had a budget of $100 billion and was expected to be completed by 2010. Today, however, construction is still ongoing and the project needs additional financial stimulants. So there is no guarantee that the new megacity will be any different from the previous Saudi projects. As such, the reception of the NEOM project has been met with mixed results. Some applaud bin Salman for boldly driving the kingdom towards reform, while others point to past failed attempts to overhaul the Saudi economy. Yet, regardless of its feasibility, the Saudi government has no choice but to try and find ways to move away from its dependency on energy revenues. The country must take advantage of its current financial resources to implement economic reform while it is still able to do so. As we have explained in an earlier report, bin Salman's young age means that he will rule the country for the next decades. This means that unlike his predecessors, he cannot pass the necessary economic reforms to the next ruler. He has to find ways to create enough sustainable wealth to avoid social unrest. That is the primary purpose of the NEOM project. If the Crown Prince fails, the consequences will come back to haunt him. In this regard, bin Salman will be the man who either makes or breaks the Saudi kingdom. So despite the tenability of the NEOM megacity, the Crown Prince believes it's a project worth pursuing.
Hey everyone, Tony here. Hope you are doing well. It is Wednesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day here in the United States. I have some positive news on the Ripple front. Again, it seems almost every day there's something positive coming out about Ripple. Partnerships, announcements, things that they've accomplished and so forth. Well, Ripple announced on their website that they have partnered with the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, the SAMA. They also confirmed on their Twitter account that their partnership with Western Union, that Western Union is indeed using XRapid, which we know leverages XRP for payment flows. So here's the announcement on Ripple's website with the partnership with the SAMA. So let's go into the details here. The Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, SAMA, is a central bank for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, KSA. They have signed an agreement with Ripple to help the banks in the KSA improve their payments infrastructure using Xcurrent. This is big. You have a central bank which has pretty much the authority to control over the local banks within the country and the kingdom, as they call it. And they're going to get these folks to use Ripple's technology, This groundbreaking pilot program is the first of its kind to be launched by a central bank. Participating banks from the KSA will use Xcurrent to instantly settle payments sent into and out of the country with greater transparency and lower costs. The SAMA's recent adoption of Xcurrent makes it the second central bank to use blockchain technology to revolutionize payments, following the Bank of England's successful proof of concept with Ripple in 2017. So this is big, guys. A second central bank, and obviously you have the local banks, the smaller banks, obviously, that are under the control of the central bank, and they're all going to be leveraging Ripple's Xcurrent technology. Now, obviously, they're not using XRapid as yet, but like I've talked about in the past, and what Ripple's CEO and the folks who work there have said, their goal is to get these folks on board, solve their immediate problems and issues, and then pitch XRapid to them and incentivize them to use XRapid. So this is why I see a lot of potential with Ripple. Now, the other big news, guys, which definitely involves XRP specifically, Ripple announced on their Twitter account that their partnership with Western Union, they are indeed going to be leveraging XRapid, which uses XRP in payment flow. So here you have it, straight from the horse's mouth, and this is big. They mentioned that they are working with the top 3 global money transfer companies. They announced MoneyGram in early January. Western Union was announced yesterday, and there's a third yet to be announced. It could be Rhea. I'm not sure who that third is. I think everyone for sure kind of knew the top two would be MoneyGram and Western Union. So this is big. We got household names. We got some really big things happening here with Ripple. And just a quick note on that Saudi Arabia central bank and the other banks within that country using Ripple's technology. I'm not sure how much you guys know about your world politics or what's, things happening in other countries. But Saudi Arabia, guys, they're so oil rich. There's so much money over there. Their citizens don't have to pay income taxes. They also mentioned just in a recent article, let's see, this is from last year, that companies there don't even have to pay that much taxes. So they have so much money, so much oil revenue, they don't even need to tax their citizens. So this is big. It means a lot of money is moving in and out of the country, especially a rich country like this, purchasing things, whatever. So this is big. This is really big, guys. I'm super excited for Ripple. There's a lot of potential. I know a lot of more great things are in line. They've hinted towards this, where Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, has mentioned there's more partnerships to be announced, but they're waiting for, the companies they're partnered with to say it's okay to give the green light, because they can't just, maybe those folks want to, announce that at a certain time, so that maybe they see their stock go up or their value, things along that line. So there's definitely a strategy behind it. So this is great news. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And please subscribe for more videos on Ripple and other cryptocurrencies. I'll talk to you guys later.
Imagine a city, a unique partnership between government and the private sector, at the crossroads between East and West, on the coast of the Red Sea, less than an hour by rail from Mecca, Medina and Jeddah. A new world city for Saudi Arabia, a new Saudi Arabian city for the world. This is King Abdullah Economic City. To build a mega city of the future, we started with hard infrastructure. We developed pro-business regulations through a single regulator, and we're connecting the city by sea, road and rail. This is attracting world-leading businesses who bring with them their best and brightest talent. We're developing a wide range of housing solutions, all surrounded by leisure facilities and maintained by state-of-the-art public services. Master planned on a total area of 181 million square meters. We started with 4 major components: King Abdullah Port, Industrial Valley, the coastal communities, and Hijaz Gate. We've built the port of the future on one of the world's busiest shipping routes on the coast of the Red Sea. Designed and built to strengthen Saudi Arabia's existing shipping and transportation network, the port is a catalyst for the Saudi economy, a creator of jobs, and a gateway to the region's biggest market. Strategically positioned, the port has direct access to the national highway network, creating a seamless link from sea to land. It also plans to have the largest multimodal terminal in the kingdom, connecting to the Saudi land bridge. When it's complete, King Abdullah Port will be one of the top 10 ports in the world. It will have more than 30 deep water berths, some over 18 meters deep, all served by the world's largest cranes to enable handling the biggest ships now and for decades to come. To deliver maximum efficiency, we've created the Port Community System, which cuts down on paperwork and provides real-time information throughout the entire process, guaranteeing fast, transparent clearance times. And the scale of King Abdullah Port makes it a vital addition to Saudi Arabia's existing import and export capability, handling growing volumes of global cargo as well as cargo destined for the kingdom itself. We've collaborated with trusted partners to create this ambitious project. Because world-leading companies need a world-leading port. A megaport for tomorrow's Saudi Arabia. With direct access to the port, we're building Industrial Valley, a new progressive hub for logistics and manufacturing. Designed with our tenants in mind, we're creating support systems to deliver the greatest efficiency. We've set up industry clusters for logistics, food packaging and FMCG, pharmaceuticals, automotive, plastics and building materials. With factories built and businesses already operational, Industrial Valley is becoming the first choice for many of the world's business leaders and their employees. For this growing population, we're building our coastal communities, a collection of beautiful, sustainably designed residential districts that create the perfect, modern, family-friendly environment for its residents. Each coastal community offers its own tailored architecture, blending first-class accommodation with the latest technology and plenty of outdoor space. These communities also offer a variety of world-class educational facilities, where young Saudis can realize their full potential, from the GEMS Education World Academy to public schools tailored to the needs of every neighborhood, and a wide range of higher education institutions, including the College of Entrepreneurship and Business. And for healthy, active family lives, residents of the coastal communities can enjoy a wide variety of exercise and relaxation options at our recreational and wellness centers, or a round of golf at our world-class 18-hole golf course on its glorious beachside location. Wherever you go, you'll be in a safe, secure environment, surrounded by places of prayer, lush outdoor spaces, and modern residential developments. At the heart of the coastal communities sits Bay Lassan, a vibrant contemporary district built around a beautiful marina. Boutiques and restaurants line the promenades, and a commercial office park, home to multinational headquarters, sits on the edge of the district. The Bay Lassan Hotel and Marina mark the start of a series of business and leisure developments, making this city a new Saudi business hub and tourist destination on the Red Sea. After all, families build neighborhoods, and neighborhoods build communities. Living, working, and playing together. At the city's entrance, we're creating Hijaz Gate, the new downtown area, a business, retail, and residential district built around the Al Haramain high-speed rail station. This state-of-the-art rail network will link King Abdullah Economic City to Jeddah, Mecca, and Medina, making access to the city effortless from around the kingdom. This area is a critical part of the city's vision. It will become a stopping point for millions of pilgrims, a natural destination for conferences and exhibitions, the perfect location for new educational institutions, and home to malls and corporate headquarters. Here at King Abdullah Economic City, we've already achieved a great deal. We've built a port, we've built factories, we've built homes, we've helped to build businesses and communities. We're creating wide-ranging career opportunities, making us a destination for top talent. We're building many sectors, but one economy. Many neighborhoods, but one sustainable community. Global investors and national brands, families and citizens are moving forward with us. King Abdullah Economic City. Our story is only just beginning.
Saudi Arabia is rolling out a huge expansionary budget for 2018. Now, here's the lowdown. The kingdom will boost spending to almost $300 billion in a bid to revive an economy, well, that's languished in the wake of low oil prices. It expects GDP to expand 2.7% next year. That's after shrinking by 0.5% in the last 12 months. And inflation will accelerate to more than 5% from its current negative territory. I spoke to the finance minister himself, Mohammed Al-Jadaan, about the outlook.
The government announced last week the second wave of the stimulus package of 72 billion, 22 of which is for 2018. The rest is going to be for the next 2 years. And we are working now with the private sectors, and you will see a few workshops conducted in the next few weeks to work on the third wave, which will be about 80 plus billion, focusing on industries that are strategic, that employs more locals, that adds to the GDP. What we have seen in the second wave is very clear. We have about 15 initiatives. Each initiative has a specific amount that is allocated to it and to be spent over a period of time. We are designing the third wave, working with the private sector. We also don't want to give the private sector something that they don't want or they don't need. So we need to make sure that we design it. We design the amounts, the sectors, and the duration, whether it is some of it maybe for 18, some of it will be 19 and 20.
The Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority has signed a deal with the Ripple network to help improve the payments infrastructure of domestic banks. The pilot program will allow participating KSA banks to use Xcurrent for cross-border payments. SAMA will support KSA banks with program management and training. Xcurrent is Ripple's settlement solution that offers end-to-end tracking. Xcurrent uses fiat, while Xrapid uses XRP as a transaction currency.
I'm going to talk about Saudi Arabia's $500 billion megacity, Neom. When I first read about Neom, it reminded me a little bit of Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional African nation from the Marvel universe, home to the Black Panther, and is the most technological advanced country in the world. And Neom hopes to be the most advanced city in the world someday. According to DiscoverNeom.com's press release, Neom will be so advanced that it may be possible that robots outnumber humans in the city. So how does Saudi Arabia plan to build a real-life Wakanda? Let's find out. Welcome to NeoScribe, research in the future for you, so you don't have to. Alright, before we get started, let's talk a little bit about special economic zones. Special economic zones are areas within a country's borders that have different laws than the rest of the country. Typically, the variance in laws or policies involve investing, taxation, trading, quotas, customs, and labor regulations. And this is to encourage businesses to establish themselves in the zone. The zones are created for various reasons, such as increased trade, increased investment, and job creation. Dozens of countries in the world have special economic zones, including China, Mexico, Greece, India, Poland, and many, many more. And now Saudi Arabia wants to establish their own special economic zone in Neom. And they want to do this to lessen the reliance on oil and add diversity to their revenue stream. Over the years, the price for oil has dropped significantly, and that has really hurt countries that rely on oil like Saudi Arabia. Also, gasoline and diesel-fueled vehicles have gotten more efficient over the years and have even started to shift toward hybrid or electric motors altogether, lowering the demand for oil. And then you have the United States, who has recently produced more oil than ever before. Matter of fact, the US is projected to hit an all-time high in oil production in 2018 at 9.7 million barrels per day. Lastly, there are a lot of skepticism whether Saudi Arabia has as much oil reserves as they claim. This is because in 1989, Saudi Arabia changed their estimated oil reserves from 170 billion barrels to 260 barrels without explaining the adjustment. On top of that, the current estimates of their reserves remain around 260 billion today, even though they have consumed or exported 94 billion barrels since 1989. Whether or not Saudi Arabia is running out of oil, they have good reason to want to make drastic changes to diversify their revenue stream and economy. So on October 24th, Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced the megacity Neom. The name Neom means new future and comes from two words and two languages. First is the Greek word neo, meaning new, and then the M stands for the Arabic word mustaqbal, meaning future. It will operate as an independent economic zone with its own laws, taxes, and regulations. Neom will be massive, over 10,000 square miles or over 26,000 square kilometers, and that will make it more than 33 times larger than New York City and a little less than the size of Massachusetts. Located in the northwest corner of Saudi Arabia, Neom loosely connects the three continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe and hopes to be a leading global hub. And in that location, 70% of the world's population will be able to reach it in under 8 hours. Neom will strive to be one of the world's economic and scientific capitals. Neom plans to attract the top talent from around the world and push the boundaries of innovation like never before. And they hope to do this by being the safest, most efficient, most future-oriented, and best place to live and work. As Neom is developed and after it's established, it will focus on 9 investment sectors and living conditions. They'll focus on energy and water, mobility, biotech, food, technological and digital sciences, advanced manufacturing, media, entertainment, and livability. By investing in the latest innovation in these 9 areas, Neom will be a technological proving ground. Also, since Neom will be built from scratch, it will be unlike any other city on Earth, being built with future technologies at the cornerstone of its development. Every aspect will be innovative and futuristic compared to other cities that have evolved over the years. Neom's layout will encourage walking and bicycling, and the city will be solely powered by renewable energy. On top of that, Neom will include disruptive transportation technology such as self-driving cars, passenger drones, and Hyperloop systems. The Russian company Suma Group has announced its support for Neom and plans to invest billions of dollars in a food hub and Hyperloop system for the megacity. Neom will also have utopian features such as free high-speed internet, which they'll call digital air, and it'll also have free world-class continuous online education. Additionally, all of Neom's services and processes will be 100% fully automated. If everything goes according to its vision, Neom will be a glimpse of what's to come in the future. We will see how people will live and how they'll work when robots take most of the jobs, because in Neom, all repetitive and arduous tasks will be fully automated and handled by robots, which may outnumber the humans in the city. So I am very interested to see how Neom plays out, and I hope it has a positive impact on humanity at large. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Neom will be successful and eventually be an economic and scientific capital in the world? Comment below.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to our session, Saudi Arabia Vision 2030. I'm really delighted to have such a distinguished panel here today. So allow me to quick introduce all the panelists, even though I do expect that you all know the panelists here on stage. First and foremost, His Excellency Khalid Fali, Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources of Saudi Arabia. We have here Lawrence Fink, the Chairman and the CEO of BlackRock in New York. We have Minister Al-Kasabi, who is Minister of Commerce and Investment of Saudi Arabia. We have, from the private sector also, Andrew Livius, Chairman and CEO of Dow Chemical. Warm welcome. And last but not least, we have the Finance Minister of Saudi Arabia, Minister Mohammed Jadaan. Excellency, a warm welcome to all of you. Big round of applause to our today's panel. Minister Al-Fali, allow me to start with you. Can you give us a quick, brief overview, even with a huge project, about the Saudi Vision 2030?
Well, thank you, Philip. And indeed, it is huge, it is audacious, it is ambitious, and the word transformative doesn't give it justice. And before I describe what Vision 2030 is all about, I think it's perhaps take a minute and set the stage and talk about where Saudi Arabia starts from. We have a solid base to build on. The Saudi economy is the largest in the Middle East. It's a very substantial GDP that we have, over 1.6 trillion Saudi riyal. We have a stable currency pegged to the dollar. We have a very strong fiscal position. We have a robust consumption in the kingdom. So those in the private sector know Saudi Arabia is a very attractive market, very open, no currency restrictions. One of the best places to do business. The infrastructure in Saudi Arabia in many areas is world-class. Obviously, there are gaps here and there. And the demographics are also very good. We have a young, aspiring population. Over 70% of our population is below the age of 25. Schools and vocational centers are all over the kingdom, so we're ready to turn this young population into a very productive force to be reckoned with and to be utilized by the private sector. Now, the vision itself, as I mentioned, is very transformative. At its heart, it's about transforming the economy. Saudi Arabia's economy over the last few decades has been built on our strength, which is what we're known for, the oil resources that have brought Saudi Arabia to where it is. We're proud of what we've done with it. We intend to do more with it and build more wealth and opportunity and create jobs and prosperity with the tremendous resources that remain under the ground, and we think the rest of the world will need them. So nothing that I or my colleagues say should be taken to devalue what we intend to do with our natural resources. But we've become a large economy, as I mentioned, with primarily one engine. And large jumbo jets don't fly with one engine. So we've recognized this, and we intend to build multiple engines to add to what we have. So diversification will include mining, for example, that currently only contributes just over $15 billion to our GDP, while we have prolific resources still to be discovered and put to production. It will go at least to $60 billion of GDP or more. Services will grow in size and be a contributor. Tourism, banking, finance will all grow in the kingdom. Logistics. The kingdom enjoys one of the best locations in the world, connecting Asia, Africa, Europe, and certainly the center of the Middle East. So logistics will grow as we complete the infrastructure we have and also ease the traffic of goods and services across the kingdom and become a platform to reach the rest of the Middle East. Investments will be a key vehicle to achieve this. We have a large investment fund called the PIF. It will be transformed into one of the world's, if not the world's largest, sovereign wealth fund, targeting $2 trillion of assets under management. And the not too distant future, it will invest strategically within the kingdom, but I think more importantly for the diversification purposes, it will also invest strategically abroad, and it has started doing this. Evidence is the major investment we've made in technologies of the future with SoftBank, investments in Uber, and other investments. So investments will be a key. Reforms, of course, are a key enabler, and the government, as proud as we are of the regulatory and the legal system we have in the kingdom, we're not content. We want to be among the world's best in every aspect. So reforms will be introduced, and my colleagues will speak about the reforms. Privatization is going to be key. The future Saudi Arabia is going to be private sector led. And many of these private sector activities that are calculated today as part of the GDP are going to be delinked from reliance on government spending and oil revenue. And that is, I think, the most important thing, is not only do we grow the GDP to the private sector to contributing to 65% of GDP, but delink it to the maximum extent possible from government spending, from oil revenue. Last but not least on the transformation are the soft factors. We've talked about economic, infrastructure, ease of doing business, but the soft issues are also important. We talked about the population. We're going to turn Saudi Arabia into a softer place, a more pleasant place to live. We're going to strive to make people happy within the kingdom, and we've taken many steps to do that. We're going to promote tolerance in our society, which exists today, but make sure it's universal within Saudi Arabia and make Saudi Arabia a model of other Muslim countries in terms of being a tolerant society. Gender diversity, opening more opportunities for women is a centerpiece of Vision 2030. Cutting down unemployment, obviously, is one of our top line objectives and target. It's approaching between 11 and 12%, depending on how you calculate. Vision 2030 targets 7%. And as I mentioned, women employment will be a key. Many other factors that time doesn't permit, but these probably are some of the broad lines of the transformation.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, colleagues. It was really impressive, and it's really truly a strategic approach.
Welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Highness, Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
قدرة استثمارية ضخمة جدا مستهدفة بحجم 500 مليار دولار، موقع مميز بين 3 قارات، بين أهم معابر النقل الجوي والنقل البحري. لدينا فرصة ننتقل إلى جيل جديد من طريقة الحياة، من المدن، من التقنيات، من الصحة، الخدمات إلى آخره. وأهم عنصر لدينا هو الشعب السعودي ورغبة وإرادة الشعب السعودي. الفرق الذي سوف يكون في نيوم كزون وكالمدينة سوف تكون في داخل نيوم مثل الفرق بين هذا الهاتف وبين هذا الهاتف. هذا ما سوف نعمله في داخل اليوم. أنا 21 مليون نسمة، أنا لا شيء بدونهم. أنا أقل وأضعف مثال فيهم كلهم. هم اللي يحفزوني وهم اللي يدفعوننا للأمام.